All right, I got another interesting thing here. This is a TED Talk, but the topic is who pays for assassinations on the dark web? Now, I've never heard of Carl Miller. Someone sent this to me in an email and said that they mentioned something about law enforcement at some point in this. So even if it's not, I mean, hey, we don't have to do cop-related content at all times. Every now and then we can dive into something that's just interesting. It's only about 15 minutes long. Let's check it out.
I'm Carl Miller, and I spent years watching people trying to have someone murdered. They thought they were doing it in secret, but they weren't. So the year was 2020. COVID had descended, and just like everyone else, I was spending a lot of time online. But I was going on a bit of the internet that I think probably fewer people here have actually been on, the darknet. A bit of the internet that, thanks to clever technology, encryption, basically ensures your anonymity. And rumors had swirled around the darknet for years that you could buy anything on the darknet, that you could buy drugs, that you could buy guns, that you could buy uranium, and also that you can buy murder on websites like this. This is what the website looked like when I first laid eyes on it all those years ago. I mean, it looks like a website from the 1990s. It looks like someone trying to make clip art as scary as possible.
Let me look at this website really quick. Let's go back. We are the Albanian Mafia. We are present in the USA, the Rudaj organization, in Europe and in Albania. We have members in each and every country, and we have expanded online as many other organizations. We are using the security of deep web and Bitcoin. If you want to kill someone or beat the shit out of him, we are the right guys. What a lackluster sales pitch. We have professional hitmen available through the entire USA, Canada, and Europe, and you can hire a contract killer easily. I don't know. If to me, this kind of just looks like a tabloid ad. Like, I don't know if I could take this seriously. But then again, you probably don't have the most intelligent people out there hiring hitmen. You know?
Like from the but the offer that the website makes is a serious one. This website is saying, hey, we're the mafia, and now you can deal directly with us thanks to the darknet. So you go onto this part of the internet, you load in your alias, you type in the message, and then it says you can directly transact to have someone killed. And so it was that in 2020, a hacker that I was working with, a man called Chris Montero, he was looking at this website. He was probing it, he was scanning it, he was seeing what he could learn. And then in discovery, which changed, I think, both Chris and my life forever, momentously, Chris found a little vulnerability with the way in which this website worked. A kind of little technical gap, if you will, that he could kind of, in a weird way, wiggle through.
And then he figured out that it was actually made by a 13-year-old boy, because that's kind of how it reads to me.
And get into the back end of the website. And there, Chris could see all the kill orders being placed. He could see names, addresses, pattern of life information, Bitcoin payments, and all the messages trying to have someone killed. So he phoned me. So suddenly, these were flying in. These are, by the way, the literal actual kill orders we were intercepting on the site. I'm not...
Okay, let's read this. The target is a simple, easy person, but high risk, putting me in jail. Target needs to be eliminated ASAP, therefore a bonus of 500 if target is eliminated within upcoming weekend. And he paid $1,900. You really think that that's the going rate for murder nowadays? Is there just so many murderers out there that it costs $2,000? And he'll throw in an extra 500 if you can make sure that it's done by the weekend. Jesus, guys. Definitely not the most intelligent people using these websites.
Not mocking up anything today. These are all real. So suddenly we were seeing that there was a hit to kill someone in Amsterdam. A simple, easy person, but high risk of putting me in jail. They paid almost $2,000. There was a hit to kill someone in Paris for $1,000. A person that needs to go away. Her apartment.
$1,000, dude. Who would kill someone for $1,000? That's insane. That's crazy. Like, to think that someone would kill someone for $1,000 is even more insane than like actually trying to get someone killed for money. That's just crazy. Andy says that's some great value for your assassination dollars. Exactly.
Be set on fire. A large order to kill someone in Slovakia. I need you to take down one guy, they say, $14,000.
Where, okay, that's a big price discrepancy right there. Who's setting the rates for this? Because it's not very consistent. The Algerian mafia or Albanian mafia, whatever they were calling themselves, they really need to get better bookkeepers. You know what I mean? I mean, a flat rate, maybe some, interest if it's a high priority target. But come on, we're just all over the place. We're pricing ourselves out of the market here, guys. How are you going to compete with a $1,000 price tag if you're also selling the same service for $15,000? It makes no sense. Get it together, boys.
To kill someone in Slovakia. I need you to take down one guy, they say, $14,000. There was an order in Hyderabad in India. There was an order in Berlin to kill someone probably worth
$21,000. Now we're just going all over the place.
Home, $21,000 for that one. Now, some of these kill orders were short and curt and clipped. Others were long, offering lurid justifications as to why it was the right thing that this person had to die. And others still, they would log in almost every day, almost providing like real-time updates. Oh, the target's just left the house. This is the car they're driving. This is how they're going to get to work. But put together, we called all of these orders the kill list. It was the single most grotesque, disgusting, horrible, frightening thing I've ever had to read in my entire life. And it was getting longer all the time. So I did what any sane person would do. I phoned the police. And so it was in the middle of COVID, the first two strangers that I'd seen for months were two somewhat nervous uniformed police officers from the Metropolitan Police stood in my kitchen, and I laid it all out for them. I took them through the website. I took them through the hacks. I showed them the orders. We'd drawn this diagram of how the website worked. And they looked at it, and they looked at me, and they looked at each other, and they were unfortunately genuinely quite concerned I was insane.
Wow. That's the exact kind of response I would expect American police to have to this kind of allegation. And you can see this at a smaller scale on YouTube. I'm going to draw an analogy here, so stick with me, okay? This is going to be a little bit of a stretch, but hopefully you can see what I'm going for. So this guy gathers all this evidence to prove that criminal activity is happening, very serious criminal activity at that. And he presents it to the police, and they were like, well, what the fuck do we do with this? We're not going to do anything with this. This is not how we work. That same kind of thing happens on YouTube with the predator catching YouTube channels, where they do go out of their way. Some of these guys are very legit in the way that they gather this evidence. The same bar that was set by Chris Hansen. They meet the same threshold of evidence that he would have provided to officers. But for some reason, just because they're a YouTuber, it's never taken seriously or credible. Not never, because there are some of them out there who have convictions, and some cases where the police actually did go and do their job. But I've seen many videos and had many sent to me of people complaining that, these predator catchers would go compile a big, thorough amount of evidence just for the cops to be like, oh yeah, we don't give a shit about that. It's just, there's so much here. This is such a big issue. It's going to take us so long to sort through all this and get resources on it that we'd just rather not fuck with it. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting here.
And it's a bit of a longer story, but ultimately the Metropolitan Police decided not to take up an active investigation in the site.
What a surprise.
But we knew we couldn't step away. Like these people whose images we could see, who knew where we lived, these people being targeted, they might be in terrible danger. They might not know that someone out there on the darknet was trying to have them killed. So we took a decision, maybe the most difficult decision I've ever had to make, certainly professionally, and the decision was that I would go and reach the people on the kill list myself, directly. That I would tell them that someone was trying to kill them. And so we sculpted a script. We worked with a psychologist. We worked out how we would try and soften the blow of being told that someone was trying to kill you. And I had to also emotionally embrace myself for this. I dreaded it.
This is awesome. I think that's a really good idea. And what else can you do? in his shoes. Like, what else could you do besides go and tell these people, hey, somebody's trying to murder you, just so you know. And that it's just insane that he had to be the one to do it. That, you know, the thing is like those cops, even if they didn't plan to do an investigation into who was actually running this site or whatever, they could have at least done what he did and call all these people and let them know and monitor the site. You know, I mean, come on. But I mean, hey, if the cops won't do it, you're free to. And this goes back to the predator channels. Why do we even have these predator channels? Oh, maybe it's because we don't have enough law enforcement dedicated to that particular problem. Another example leading back to that analogy.
The idea that I was about to throw this emotional hand grenade in someone's life, it was absolutely awful. Anyway, this is the call.
No, I don't want any information. I'm trying to give you information.
I don't care.
Okay, well, thanks for your time anyway. Do give me a phone back if you'd like more information.
He didn't give a shit if somebody was trying
Would
to
we be able to arrange a time to be able to talk to you at greater length about that?
No, thank you.
Okay. So you don't...
Hung up on me.
Imagine getting a phone call and them saying, hey, somebody's trying to kill you, bro. And you're like, I'm too busy for that. I don't care. What do you want? Get out of my life. Can you imagine? Like, he's trying to save your life, brother. And you don't even have 5 minutes to talk to him on the phone?
I mean, I wasn't an emotional hand grenade going off in these people's lives. I was awful. I mean, no one believed me. You know, I spent a week, but the story was so unbelievably fantastical. Darknet assassins, you know, kill orders that I just kept getting hung up on for a week. So we knew we needed to evolve our strategy and quickly. So we got local journalists on the scene. They believed us to go and directly meet the people on the kill list face to face. And the first place we tried to do this was to reach a woman called Elena here in Zurich, in the outskirts of Zurich. I spoke to the local journalist. She drove up to where Elena was living. She took a deep breath. She got out of her car and knocked on Elena's front door. And 5 minutes turned into 10, 10 into 15. And then, at last, after an agonizing wait, there was Elena on a Zoom call. A woman whose face I'd only seen on a kill order was there speaking to me. And this was the warning I delivered her.
Sorry, there's no easy way of really saying this. We've come across some information which might mean that someone had put some information regarding you on the site.
I'm actually not really surprised.
Really? In what way?
I'm having an ugly divorce. It's going on for about 3 years now. So, you know, there's money involved, quite a lot of money, and my husband actually doesn't want to pay it. So.
Wow, so this lady already knew. She's like, I'm not surprised. That's insane. I mean, I guess I'm sure that if someone has gotten to the point of wanting to have you killed and like going on the internet to pay for that you probably are at least somewhat aware that someone out there fucking hates you. You know? But damn, to just for her to be so nonchalant about it, that's kind of insane.
You know, I'm not really surprised.
She took it unbelievably well. Now, an important thing to know is that it wasn't just messages going into the site. The shadowy people running the site were also replying. Some of these conversations would go back and forth for weeks or months, and we could read all of those as well. And what we realized when we were reading all of those was that if there were hitmen out there, these were the most incompetent hitmen on the face of the planet.
That's what I was saying earlier. Let's see what this says. The second team is not interested to do the job for 5,000. If you don't add the 7 Bitcoin today, the second team will abort and we will have to assign a third team at a lower level, same as the first team. What? Some customer service you're paying for there. $5,000. Andy says, I'd also be checking obituaries for any names on the list. Police might listen to that. That's a really good idea. I can't believe they didn't think of that, because that would be a really good way to make some correlations there. But my suspicion is that this is probably ran by a 13-year-old, like I said at the beginning. I don't think that this is actually a kill site. This is just a scam site. So straight up, they just have teams. Yeah, there's no substance to this at all. That's right, Peter. And it is a money grab. That's right.
Like they kept losing their weapons or they kept getting lost. It'd build up to the hit and suddenly the target would be too well protected. They'd have to pull out, new teams have to come in, and every single time the price would go up. It became really obvious that there were no shadowy hitmen out there. The site had no interest in killing any of these people. They were just trying to extort as much money as they could from the people placing the orders. But the people placing the orders, they of course did not know that. They were deadly serious when they were trying to have these people killed. And nowhere was that lesson starker than actually with Elena herself. So after we spoke to the police, after we spoke to Elena, we spoke to the police. And sometime after that, the Swiss police did arrest her husband. And only then did we realize that he'd been renting a secret room next to her flat. And in this room, there was a flip knife, a gas mask, a telescopic baton, a submachine gun, a Glock 9mm pistol, an AK-47, zip ties, a black bin bag, black rubber gloves, GPS trackers, lockpicks.
Wait, didn't he say this was in the UK? How the hell did he get an AK and all that shit? I thought that was illegal over there. Well, I thought it was harder to get. But geez, man, this guy was serious.
That was a lesson to us if we needed it. The people writing these orders could be just as dangerous as any darknet hitman. So who are these people? Who are the people writing these orders? Who is paying $2.2 thousand here for a 5'5" male with blue eyes to be killed? Who? This is who's doing it.
Ooh.
She's Kelly Harper. Kelly Harper is a go-getter, hospital administrator, one-time college sweetheart of the target of the order who'd been locked with him in a bitter years-long custody battle that had raged across the courts and the schools and the hospitals of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
It seems like the main motivation for getting someone killed seems to be relationship disputes, whether it be kids or divorce or something like that. So watch this video before you guys get married, you know what I'm saying? And I'm married, you know, coming from a married man.
Who's paying $16,000 to have a couple removed, someone that they don't quite see eye to eye on something with, which sounds like the understatement of the absolute century. This is a man that's done that, Christopher Pence, 40-year-old Microsoft IT security technician, the biological father of 11 children, the adoptive father of 5 more children, a deeply religious man, actually, who from a large solitary house in a valley in Utah secretly plotted to have the biological parents of his 5 adoptive children killed.
What the hell? Why would he do that? Custody battles? He just wants their biological parents dead? What the fuck? Thomas says that all probably still ends up being about money. That's fair. Lacey says she's been married 3 times and she'll never do it again. You sound like my mom. He's sick. Yeah, he is sick. That's for sure. That's just crazy. I don't know what motivation you could have for killing your adopted child's biological parents. Unless this one's 60 grand. This is like the biggest one they got. They want the target kidnapped for 7 days. While being held, she will be given injections of heroin at least 2 times a day. What the fuck? This is not even a murder request. This is just a torture request. That is crazy.
This order didn't want the target actually killed. This order wanted the target kidnapped and forcibly addicted to heroin. The order went by the darknet moniker SCAR-215, and they actually laid out a bonus structure. So an additional 10,000 to permanently withdraw court motions, an additional 10,000 to keep her mouth shut and tell no one. The husband does not know this is happening, writes the order. Any guesses? The husband definitely did know this was happening.
Oh.
This is the husband, Dr. Ronald Ill.
Oh, he's a doctor too. Dude, come on. How do you graduate as a doctor and you see that website and think it's legit? How? Like, this is an educated man. It takes a long time to be a doctor. It takes a lot of effort, dedication. Your brain's on overload constantly. And yet you see this tabloid of a site. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, doctors are just people. You're right, fireman. But I like to think that people who had dedicated themselves to some kind of intellectual pursuit would be a little bit intellectual, you know? But I guess not. Sandy says the idea that the dark web can't be hacked is somewhat naive as well. Yeah, it's not like it's completely anonymous. If, for example, if your traffic on the dark web can be monitored with the right amount of resources. Andy says he had a mistress he wanted to leave his wife for, but that's my guess. Thomas says not much different than cops, really. That's a fair point.
A neonatologist, a doctor, a man who ran a clinic for vulnerable women with addiction issues, a man who went from a poor rural upbringing in Oregon to a senior city clinician, and a man obsessed with controlling all the people in his life, especially the women. A man so devoid of contrition that after his conviction, he's been trying to sell the book rights to his life by describing it as 50 Shades of Grey on steroids.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't just here. This was a Sports Direct love triangle in Milton Keynes. This was a woman trying to kill her 2 parents in Canberra, Australia. We saw orders in Nevada. We saw orders in Tampa. We saw orders in Spain. We saw orders in Italy. We saw orders almost everywhere. Now, we started working in secret with the FBI. And we were passing all of our orders to the FBI. And to give you a sense of the scale, over the years that we were doing this, we disclosed 175 paid-for kill orders around the world. 32 arrests so far, 28 convictions so far, around 180 years of prison time has been sentenced as a result of the investigation so far. There's probably more to come.
Hey, cheers, brother.
Thanks. And in case anyone's wondering, no, we're not still doing this. So there's a whole other investigation that we did into the people running the site. It turns out very likely that they were a group of Romanian cyber criminals, and some years ago they were then arrested in a rash of raids across Romania. We were then locked out the site, and yet convictions have continued that we have had nothing to do with.
Oh, that's good. They got some convictions out of it. And it makes sense now why the website has such bad copy editing, and that's because it was written by programmer or computer guys. They're good at math, not writing, and so we got to give them a little bit of deference on that. They definitely should hire a PR team and booking, but otherwise the business model was relatively solid, as evidenced by their customer base.
And that is the only reason I can stand on this stage today and tell you about any of this. This is, by the way, not a story I really thought I would ever be on a stage and able to tell anyone about. So it's a spectacular moment for me to be able to finally kind of talk to the world about what we were doing all those long years ago.
I'm sorry,
but
Brian.
where are we left with? That's, I think, the final idea I want to leave us with. Like, what does all of this actually really mean? When I first started doing this, I thought the kinds of cases that we were going to be dealing with were going to be to do with maybe organized crime, big drug deals gone awry. And I think the reality is somewhat more unsettling than all of that. What this website seems to do, in the eyes of the orders at least, is to make taking out a hit on someone convenient and clean and safe and easy, whereas it was once difficult and dangerous and scary. It's essentially lowered the barriers to entry to ordering an assassination. And I think that brings us face to face with something that is quite disconcerting. The people on this list, the kill list, and the people that put them there are normal people. The perpetrators are basically normal people. They have jobs, they have friends, they go about living their lives just like you and I. And they were going about holding all of that down basically at the same time that they were plotting in secret, constantly, coldly often, to have someone killed. I think that if there's one thing that unites them all, it was often intimate partner violence, by the way, spiraling out of control. And I think the one thing that unites them all is a desire for control, a need to have it, an inability to lose it, control of a thing, control of a relationship, of a family, and a willingness, ultimately, of course, to kill to get it back. But I think that's where we are. And if there's one thing that I've come away from this whole lurid, crazy journey really thinking, we might all be just a little bit closer to being on a kill list we might like to think. Thanks very much, everyone.
Wow, that was really interesting. And it did kind of have some law enforcement aspects to it. I gotta say, I did not realize that there were so many people out there who were well, let me put it this way. I think that people who are passionate about something, whether that be rights or having someone murdered, often get very blinded by that passion and do stupid shit, like fall for the most obvious scam website ever. I can't imagine wanting someone dead and going to and putting in an application online to have that happen. That just sounds crazy. It doesn't sound like the most efficient way to do that. And man, these people must have been in some desperate situations to have that make sense in their mind. I just can't imagine even thinking that way. It's pretty wild. Electric says, my first IT job was coding installs and writing technical documentation. Oh, so you got some writing under your belt. You got some copy editing going on there. Yeah, and I guess that there probably is a lot of technical jobs dealing with programming and software that do require a lot of technical writing. Just taking a jab at the math guys, I guess, because I'm too dumb to understand complex math.